Oh, okay. Done. Okay. Hi, I'm Robin Steinberg from the National Critics' Choice Online News. Stay with Hyatt for Hyatt hotels around the world. I have a guest here from England, and that is Chef John Retallick, Governor and Vice President for the Craft Guild of Chefs. Now, about the organization, Richard and John are involved as award winners and members of the Craft Guild of Chefs, whose patron is the Royal Highness Sophie, Countess of Wessex, and previously it was the Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The president of the guild is the Master of Royal Household Advice, Marshal David Walker, OBE. That's correct. And David himself is responsible for all of royal households, including Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle. And John himself here is David's vice president in the guild. Chef John, thank you for joining us here at the National Critics' Choice.
My pleasure.
And tell us, what does it take to be a man of your position today?
Well, I think certainly a lot of experience. I've had well over 50 years as a chef in the hospitality industry, and in particular, I've been a member of my association, the Craft Guild of Chefs, since 1972. So, in fact, I've been very passionate about the industry, about the training of young chefs, about looking after chefs in general within our industry. It's very, very important that they do a fantastic job.
It's amazing. And over the last 50 years, do you see the changes of the food trends, the way culinary has been received?
Oh, so very, very much. Food trends, the industry has changed so very, very much to when I first came in. And I think what is satisfying now is that we have programs such as yours going out on the television. When I first started in the industry, there might have been one or two cookery experts on the television. But as a young chef, I was never allowed to go into the restaurant and meet the customer. The chef always stayed in the kitchen. And I think one thing that actually satisfies me these days is the fact that the chef is allowed to come and meet the customer. And indeed, events such as today, we have highlighted the work of the chef, the actual methods that the chef uses to put food on the plate. Customers can appreciate the amount of work that is done to put a meal in front of them.
And are you a firm endorsee for traditional versus fusion? Because there's a lot of fusion food these days, cuisine.
There is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I come from a classical background, and I was trained classically. I was trained in classical French cuisine and British cuisine. But over the years, I've got to love the blend of cookery, the enthusiasm from various countries coming onto the plate. And I think that is so important to keep the interest in cookery alive. And I think it's very, very important to anyone entering our industry to feel that they have the ability to be able to experiment and bring in different aspects of ingredients from different parts of the world.
Amazing. And tell me, what's it like to serve Your Majesty, from time to time?
Well, a good friend of mine is the chef at Buckingham Palace. However, in my years past and working at various functions, I have cooked for the royal family, the Queen, and various members of the royal family, and indeed have, in my later years, I've shared a table with royalty. The Countess of Wessex, who you actually mentioned there, who is our patron of the Craft Guild of Chefs, I've actually dined with her at a function. Now that is something a little bit special. That's something that a a lot of people do not get the opportunity to do. And I think it's very, very precious. It's very precious to me. It's very precious to my memory of my experience within the catering industry.
And if you should share just one dish that probably Your Royal Highness fancy most.
Oh, goodness me. Well, most dishes, I think the royal family do like local produce. They like to beg your pardon. They like to understand local produce. And if you take Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, for instance, very, very passionate about local produce and about organic food and the organic production of food and farm foods. So anything that is prepared in a natural way, in a proper way, and it is farm fed and bred properly and grown properly, they like that very, very much.
Amazing. And how many farms do you have back in
Oh,
England?
my goodness me. We have hundreds and hundreds of farms. But let me tell you one thing that is happening, and that's happened now for quite a few years, in each area of England, Scotland and Wales and in Northern Ireland, is that everybody is very precious about their local produce. So their lamb, their sheep, their cattle, their milk, their cheese, their fruit, their vegetables that are grown locally within their own area, they're very, very precious about.
Amazing. I wish we had farms here in Singapore.
Yes, indeed.
It's a very small island. But Chef, tell us, what sort of advice would you give for the last 50 years in this industry for aspiring chefs?
I think first of all, don't treat it as a job. Treat it as a profession. Treat it as a commitment to your life. Because to be a good chef, to be working in this industry is a difficult industry to be in. It's a hard industry to follow. And you have to put a lot of hours into it. So be interested, always find out more. Look at it, look at the ingredient, find out where that ingredient came from. Be passionate about the ingredients you use in your dish. Have an interest in what you're doing, and you will go far.
Amazing. And once again, Chef, thank you for joining us here at the National British Choice. Before you go, may I ask also, what's your inspiration behind the menu that you prepared for this celebration?
Because we're in the British Club, it followed on that we needed something traditionally British. We had lamb, we had a consommé, we had the terrine, we had a selection of British products, your apple sweet and dessert and an apple sorbet, and some little petit fours which contained typically British afternoon tea, and that is important. And I think every congratulations must go to the British Club here in Singapore for trying to keep up with traditions that have built up the British way of life and the English and Irish and Scottish way of life. And they're holding up that flag of support here in Singapore. And may I say, the people that I have worked with over the last week here at the British Club have been so supportive to me and my colleague, and I congratulate them for the hard work that they are undergoing here in Singapore and keeping up the traditions that are classically British.
Well, thank you, Chef John, for being with us here. And I'm Robin Steinberg for the National British Choice Online News. Stay with Hyatt. Stay tuned to our next format.
Thank you very much.